Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. Hey B, we have a different setting today. Oh, look, our Christmas tree, beautiful Christmas tree. Yay! No fishing kit on it for the first time ever. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone's really well and nice and warm and cozy at home. Today, what are we doing, Andy?
Well, what are you doing, IB, most importantly?
Fly tying with IB is happening right now.
But before we start, guys, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit the subs button. That way you'll be kept in touch with all the news, reviews, fishing, and other stuff that IB and I get up to. If you're a current subscriber already, thank you very much for coming back to us. Much appreciate it. And this may well be that this vlog is happening because of our subscribers. People have asked for more fly tying videos.
Yep, more fly tying videos.
During a recent live stream, people asked for you doing some fly tying. So just give a little bit of background as to your fly tying experience, IB.
So I probably tied my first fly, 2 or 3 of them, 4 years ago?
A long time ago.
Long time ago. And it involved a lot of alcohol, not gonna lie. They were really nice flies, I still have them. And they caught me fish, and I was very grateful. But then I haven't tied any flies, and then lockdown happened, beginning of this year, and I had so much time on my hands when we couldn't go fishing, and I started fly tying again. So Andy was showing me how to tie one fly, and then he would leave the room and I would try and tie as many flies as I possibly can. And then I started watching other YouTube videos and following instructions and trying to do this, and then I kept running into the living room with a fly, really proud, and saying to Andy, what do you think, and I was like, well, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong.
Oh dear.
And the hook is wrong, and where's the eye, why did you glue it together? There were all sorts. But I think I got there in the end after a little bit. All the flies were catching me fish. I tied some more complicated flies like the mayfly with the foam, and that was really nice. And I caught fish before I lost the fly in a tree. But yeah, and I thought, why not start it again now with dark nights joining in and we can't go fishing, so we can tie some flies.
So tell us about the fly that you're going to show us how to tie.
Right, okay, so it's a flash Hare's ear, and it's one of the flies that we have in our coloured water grayling packs, which if you want to buy it,
yeah, www.abangling.co.uk/shop. You'll find all the fly selections as well as some tackle selections and some upcoming merchandise on the website, so keep an eye on that if you want to buy yourself some new flies or some other stuff.
And support our channel. So, it's in one of the packs, and it's, to be honest, it's one of the flies that, you're going to be shocked now, kind of replaced for me the red tag. I will say it works really well for me on the River Wye. That's mainly where I fished it, especially when the water is coming down a little bit after a flood. So when the water starts to thin out and it's losing the color, it works really nicely. But I have caught it in great conditions as well when the river was clear. And I will say that I have not caught any trout on it. Not many anyway. I can't think of many trout that I've caught on it.
Yeah, it does seem to pick out grayling actually. It's really interesting that. There must be something about it. I'm not sure what it is. I fished this on the Dove and the Derwent as well, and it catches grayling pretty much everywhere. As you were saying, in a mixture of conditions, I do think it's at its very best, just as the river is coming down from being high. So just as it's kind of at half visibility. This thing is deadly. I don't know if it's that red rib or just the bulk of it. There must be something about it, maybe the flash on the top.
But it's a weird fly, isn't it? Because it's natural, but then it's blingy at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's probably in its favour. And it doesn't really imitate one thing in particular. There's a tail on there which suggests maybe some kind of olive nymph or batis nymph or something like that, or mayfly nymph if you're in the States. But then the actual shape of it and the bulk of it kind of suggests caddis nymph. So in truth, it's a bit of a one fly for everything, but it really does work very well, which is, I imagine, why you've chosen it to tie first.
It is a lovely fly, and like I said, it's one of my favourites recently because I have been catching quite a few fish on it. So let's start it. Do you want to walk me through what ingredients?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We'll go through the recipe. So if you want to pop the hook and the bead into the vise. Okay, so first things first, the hook there is a full in mill check nymph in a size 14, it's barbless, and the bead there is a countersunk tungsten bead 3mm gold. The thread is Semperfly Nano Silk in 12/0, absolutely brilliant stuff. I use it in white, to be honest, it goes clear by the time you've started wrapping it. Really strong, really nice stuff. The rib is Semperfly Fluoro Bright in the red. Really nice, again, nice and UV. The flashback is Opal Mirage Tinsel from UTC in a medium. The tail, we're going to use some Coq de Leon in light Pardo, really nice Coq de Leon, good stuff. For the dubbing on the body, we would be using hare's ear, apart from I've run out of hare's ear. So we're subbing it with the brown Awesome Possum from Wopsy.
Awesome Possum?
Yeah, it does just about the same jobs, just about the same colour, really, really nice. So that will do a really nice job on the body. And then up around the collar, we're going to use the Fasna Scruffy dubbing in the UV Natural Grey. Really nice. It's slightly different actually to the one that was on the Vice before. This has just got a little bit more pop to it. So it looks really good. Are you ready, IB?
I was born ready for this.
Righty, so let's get that nano silk secured on there to start with. So we get a nice big bulk of thread just behind the bead there. It'll help lock the bead in place, get the thread locked in, get ourselves off to a good start.
Oh, I like the crackling.
So yeah, that clicking you can hear, I don't know if that'll come over on the mic or not, but that clicking you can hear is actually where the nano silk has damaged the ceramic bobbin.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it does. It's incredibly strong and incredibly thin, and just over the time that I've been using the nano silk has gradually started to cut little grooves into the bobbin. It doesn't seem to be affecting it too badly just yet, but I definitely need to buy a new bobbin holder because that is going to start wearing pretty thin. I know on other threads it is damaging them. Righty, so the first thing we need to tie in terms of the fly is a nice chunky tail. So seven or eight fibres from that Coq de Leon would be really nice. Don't go too slim on the tail on this because it's quite a chunky bodied fly.
I will say this is not my favourite thing.
Coq de Leon? Not a fan?
No, just tails. Not a fan of tails. Very fiddly. Okay.
In truth, IB, this would probably work just as well without a tail.
Yeah.
But it does definitely bring something to the party.
Just like me.
Just like you.
You could live without me, but I definitely bring something to the party.
Very nicely put. So you're allowed to say that, I'm not.
Very true. Okay.
Right, so we'll tie that in with a couple of locking turns and then we'll pull it around a little bit to get it to the right length. So I would err on the short side with the tail on this. I don't think it needs to be big and long and fibrous like a Batis nymph or something like that. I think it could be fairly short and stubby.
Do you think that's long enough or shorter?
Go a little bit shorter personally. Just a little pull on that. Yeah, there we go. We'll try that and then we'll lock that down with a few more turns of thread. Okie doke, and then trim off your excess up by the bead. Sorry about the squeaky vice.
Ooh.
And the dangerous scissors. I mean, the firing line, eh?
The little fringe.
Trim off the bangs.
Oh, it looks like a little peacock.
Okie doke. Okay, so the next thing we're tying is the Semperfli Fluoro Bright. You want to tie a fairly long length of this in, because actually at the end of the fly you're going to have to finish this. It isn't just going to be a rib. So a fairly long length, maybe 15-20 centimetres. It's pretty cheap stuff, so it doesn't matter if you use a little bit.
Do you remember when I was so careful at not wasting your materials? I was like saving everything.
Just trying to make it a little bit easier on you. There we go, and make your turns up towards the bead. We can actually use the materials up here to lock the bead in place. We can use the thickness of the materials to lock the bead in place. There you go, that'll do it. We'll trim off the excess there.
All the excess.
Okay, just make a couple of turns down the hook.
Hold on.
Okie doke. And then the next material we need to tie in is your tinsel. Your flash for your flash hairs here.
My little flasheroo.
Okay, and we'll get that tied in exactly the same place in exactly the same way.
Okay. Again, fiddly. Does it have double sides or are both sides the same?
Do you know what? That's a great question actually, Abby. I've always assumed that both sides are the same, but that could well be wrong. That looks the same to me.
Is it the same?
Yeah. It's a good question though.
Full of good questions, me. Yeah?
Okay, you happy with that?
Yeah.
Trim your excess off. Good stuff. And then we need to wind all of that down towards the bend of the hook. You need to keep the tail on the bottom, you need to keep the thread in the middle, and you need to keep the tinsel on top of your kind of material sandwich there.
Thread in the middle and that on the top.
There we go. Nice careful turns. That looks good. Keep going. So if I were you here, IB, I would catch hold of the tail as well, because otherwise the tail is going to start to spin around, just like that. It's going to start to spin around the shank of the hook. So instead of holding them at a distance, I would hold them right up against the hook. That's it. And keep them under tension with your left hand if you can. That'll keep them on top of the hook. Couple more turns maybe. Yes, you need to keep hold of them there. I wouldn't let go of them at that point.
Fiddly. Yeah.
How does that look? That looks really good,
Quite
doesn't
happy
it?
with
Tail
that.
length looks good. It's just round the bend of the hook. I think that's absolutely bob on. Okay, so next bit's going to be dubbing the body. And if you look at the one that we've got tied in front of us, it's actually quite a chunky thing. You don't want to go too skinny on this. It's got quite a chunky body, so you can afford to use...
all of us.
you can actually afford to use a little bit more dubbing. You still want a taper, you still want to go from thinner to thicker, but you can afford to use a little bit of material. As I say, we would have used hare's fur here if I'd have got any. Actually, this possum fur will do a really good job.
To be fair, I'm glad you don't have it. It makes me sneeze.
Hare's fur, yeah, it gets
Yeah.
to me actually, hare's fur does.
Start crying all sorts.
That's it, nice and tight. Dub that on as tight as you can. That's it, nice tapered dubbing rope, and we'll start working back up towards the eye of the hook in touching turns. You don't have to go right the way up to the eye. You want to leave about a quarter of the hook shank available. Don't worry if this looks a little bit chunky. When we start putting the rib on there, we can actually compact it down a little bit. That's a nice touching turns. Try and keep that steady taper, getting thicker as you get towards the bead. And the thickest bits be just before you get to the bead. Okay, tell you what, we'll use that one last turn just over the top of the last one you did. Make sure it's nice and thick. Okay, cool, and then a couple of turns just behind the bead. Right, next job. We need to pull that tinsel up over the top of the body, nice and tight, and tie it in where the thread is sat. Try and get this nice and tight. You don't want it to be loose. Okay, you happy with that?
Yeah.
Sat nicely on the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can trim your excess there.
This is very stressful.
And just give that another couple of turns over the top just to make sure you've got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're going to make your rib going from the tail up towards where the bobbin holder is sat. And I'd aim to have 4 turns, 4 evenly spaced turns here. 3's not the end of the world. Definitely don't try and cram them in. You happy with that?
I think that's quite nice.
Good. Okay, so we'll tie that in.
Yeah.
Just a couple more turns because that needs to be nice and solid. Okie doke. This is the nice thing about using the nano silk is that because it's so thin, you can use a few more wraps and get everything held in place. How's that looking so far, Ivy?
I like how it looks.
You like how it looks? Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So the next thing to go on then is the dubbing at the collar. We're going to use that Fasna scruffy dubbing with the UV blue, but we're not going to cut the red off. We're going to leave that on.
Oh, I like the little twists and turns in this.
Okie dokie. So you want to dub a reasonably tight thread on there, but it needs to end up being the same thickness as where it is on the body. And you want to dub this on over the top of where the red rib is currently coming off the hook.
Okay.
Okay, so draw your red, wait. Draw your red rib over to this side, over to the right hand side, that's it. And then dub backwards over it. Okay, I think that'll probably do for that.
Yeah.
We just dub one in front of it. Okay, and then take the rest of the dubbing off that thread. Might just be a little bit of dubbing at the other side of the fly there. You could pull off as well, a little bit of excess. Okay, so nice tight turns of the white thread just behind the bead. Just 2 or 3 nice tight turns right behind the bead. You don't need to be going over the material. Okay, then I want you to whip finish the white thread.
Oh, danger zone, danger zone. That's
the
where
whip
we
finish tool.
mess up.
Well, just remember to keep your whip finishes circular and try and keep the little hook going around the shank. Okay. Okay, just grab hold of the bead and the hook, and with the other hand just pull down. That's it. And then trim that off.
Oh, I already like how this fly looks.
Okay, so this is the reason why we've kept the red thread a little bit longer, because we're actually going to use our hands to make just 1 or 2 turns with this, and then we're going to have to whip finish with that red thread. So a couple of turns of that right behind the bead. Nice and tight as you can. Okay. And then we're going to whip finish that.
Danger zone
Just
again.
a couple of turns on the whip finish. It doesn't need to be lots.
Is that enough?
1 more. That was only 1 turn. That's it.
Woohoo! Ooh, that was very stressful.
How's that looking, IB?
Ooh, very buggy, you know what?
Yeah? Do you want to trim off your excess?
I'm gonna catch so many fish with my flash there. Yep.
Okay, do you want to trim off any excess dubbing or pull off any
No,
excess
I like
dubbing?
this.
You
I
happy
don't
with
want-
that
yeah,
big tuft on the top?
I want it. It's gonna make it look super extra buggy.
Okay. So there's a little dubbing needle just there.
Okay, you're my little double needle.
All you want to do is get a little dab of Gulf Minuteman, just a small dab, and dab it on to where that whip finish is currently held in. Just a little ball of glue on the end of the dubbing needle. A little bit more, IB.
See, your little and my little are very different. Yeah.
Okay, that'll do it. Screw that back down. And that, IB,
Is that my fly?
looks like a pretty solid flash hairs here.
I like it.
You happy with that? I think that looks great. I think that's going to catch loads of fish.
Let's have a look with next to the original one. What do you think?
That looks good to me. I think that looks absolutely bang on, IB. You can't tell which one's which.
I think mine looks better.
I agree with that.
You know, I will say was our dubbing on the front, like theirs is white, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they used some white. I was going for that kind of blue flash stuff on ours rather than the white, but the white looks great as well. Pretty happy with that?
I am very happy with this.
Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed watching that. All the materials that IB's just used will be linked in the description box below. So if you wanted to have a go at the flash hairs here for yourself, IB's going to put the materials in so you can have a go.
Oh my god, I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I have. This is the danger zone, isn't it? Because once you tie one fly, you want to like another one, another one, another one. Ooh, how would that look with a different colour? And then 3 hours in, you're like, yeah, I've totally just spent 3 hours playing about.
Well, guys, let us know if you'd like IB to carry on doing some fly time vlogs. That'd be really cool.
Yes, definitely let me know if you want to see more of this.
So IB, I guess all that's left to say here is thank you very much to these people for watching you time flies.
Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, let us know anything if there's anything you want us to review, any different flies or anything. But subscribe to the channel and we will see you guys very, very soon.
Take care, folks.
Bye guys.
Bye-bye.
You proud of this?
Cool.
You should be better. You better be proud. It's a good fly.